Greetings, community, and welcome to NCBD Comics and another edition of Kevin's most anticipated reads tomorrow for New Comic Book Day, 12/11/2024. And here we are once again. Here we are once more. To those in which that decide to cruise on in on the rewind, I appreciate you greatly. If you decide you liked it, hit that like button. If you decide you even want to hit that like button, might want to consider to subscribe. Now, those in which that decided to hang out with me on the live, I greatly do appreciate you. However, at the moment, I did do this rather late and probably everyone's sleeping. So let's go ahead and get right to it. Starting it off, we're going to go ahead and talk about Marvel. They're going to bring us a few books that I've been definitely anticipating, starting with Amazing Spider-Man issue number 63. This is the third part of the 8 Deaths of Spider-Man. Now, originally, I was led to believe that there was only supposed to be 8 issues of the 8 Deaths. Now, it's not looking to be so. I think there's 10 issues to the series. It doesn't add up. Figure out how these 8 deaths, if there isn't actually going to be 8 deaths, and within the actual series itself, in the 10 issues. Never mind with the math. So, I've really been digging this series so far. I've only, unfortunately, got to read the first issue, which was a great setup for what's going to be. It's basically, there was initial. Well, now we're getting in issue 3. I mean, it's not meaning 63, but the third part of it, it's not that much of a spoiler. It's saying that Spider-Man is essentially chosen to go ahead and perform some tasks that are deemed either unworthy or not quite suitable for the individual that is tasking Spider-Man to do that. That I won't give away. And we're not uncertain why. And all these trials, all we know for certain is that, I guess, Doctor Strange had to go through these same trials, and it takes a little bit out of you every time. Well, obviously, if you die, it's going to take a little bit out of you every time. So that's why this story in particular is rather unique and different. Also, along with it, we're finally getting, I think this is the new introduction or the finalization of the writers that succeeded Zeb Wells. I don't know if we're getting the third or the second. Yeah, more math. So I'm not going to do the math, being that we're only talking about the first of the books that we're talking about in this K-M.A.R.T special. So Amazing Spider-Man issue number 63 is definitely high on my list for me. Almost made that blue light special. But moving on from Amazing Spider-Man, let's talk about Incredible Hulk 20. I've been really, really enjoying this series. Now, sometimes Hulk comes across not only really good, but strong, and then it kind of dies out in the continuity or in the consistency of the writing. In the case of this hasn't been the state. I think that makes sense. What I really mean by that is, excuse me, it's been rather consistent all the way through, and what we're getting is a Hulk in which that we kind of never seen before. No, I'm not talking about personification as much as what we're getting is a heart. We're getting someone that's caring for someone that doesn't necessarily need to care for that someone because there's no attachment to that individual, meaning Banner and Hulk especially has been attached to this individual, Charlie, and for the past, 6, maybe 7 issues, we get this attachment. We don't really understand why. There's no relation that we know of, that I know of, and it's purely out of heart. And now we're getting an opposite storyline in which Donny Cates did, in the sense of what we're amounting to is essential lockdown from the Hulk onto Banner. Well, what we got from Cates was a lockdown of Banner onto the Hulk, utilizing the Hulk as a spacecraft. I'm interested to see in the next 2 issues, meaning by I think it's issue 22, that we get to actually see the exact opposite. No, I'm not totally spoiling as much as I'm telling you. I know that's what's setting up for this. Just saying. So again, there's another one almost made my blue light special. Is Incredible Hulk issue number 20 is a very awesome and consistent read. Prior in which did I go ahead and continue with this awesome list, in which it's only by my opinion I've been enjoying consistently. Let's go ahead and acknowledge those that decided to cruise on through. Jag, I appreciate you, brother, hanging out with me. And Kev, dude, you're the most awesome dude I can appreciate outside of Jag at the moment. You two are awesome. I greatly appreciate you guys hanging out with me. And to the other 2 that decided they want to go hang out in the background and not, just kind of lurking, appreciate you too. The support everything. So let's move out from those first two that I gave you, which is Amazing Spider-Man issue number 63 and Incredible Hulk issue number 20, coming out to you and me 12/11/2024. I hope I'm getting my dates right. Let's go ahead and talk about Infinity Watch issue number 1. Yes. And what this really is about is we end up receiving, what was it, like 8 stories from an Infinity Stone series that we got with more Thanos coming down and basically saying, look, I'm looking for these stones again. Well, these stones were embedded in individuals who are now considered the most powerful individuals in the Marvel Universe. They've now formed their own team. These individuals should never get together, and when they get together, things get rather volatile, especially with Star. I believe this is the individual that's going to cause the most commotion in the storyline, and I'm anxious to see because holy shnikes, they were barely able to keep her together in the first part of the series leading up to this. So, Infinity Watch, issue number 1, coming out to you and me on 12/11/2024. Moving out from that, we're going to talk about Spirits of Vengeance. Issue number, I think it's 4. Oh, shit. Did I just fuck up? I might have. Yeah, I might have. So what I'm getting at, let's look that up. What I've really been doing is I read the first 2 issues of this. Maybe it is a 3. And what I've been enjoying about the series is it's when I read issue number 2, I'm like, what did I miss in issue number 1 that made us go down Atlantis and being towed by a fish dude? I mean, yeah, he's a merman. But what I'm really getting at is what is going on? What did I miss in issue number 1? Really, what we're getting is it almost seems like an anthology of stories leading up to, well, that's what we're about to get. I think it drops in this one. I am now looking it up because I'm ill prepared. I had to work a nice day and I didn't get my shnikes together. So I do apologize. Hey, this is why we do things live, right? You never know what you're going to get. Yeah, Spirits of Vengeance 4. That's what I thought. So this is what we have now is that's where we're amounting to. I know we were leading up to it in issue number 2. I've yet to read issue number 3. That's that box right there. Full of books that I've yet to read. But issue number 4 is just is anticipated for me. I've really been enjoying the Spirits of Vengeance series, along with basically the succession of what we got from the other Ghost Rider series that were coming out this year. It not only have been awesome, but what they're giving us is they're giving, especially with that witch, series of stories that we never saw that the writer had to deal with before. So in the Spirits of Vengeance, essentially, it's just that. We're back into a whole new spirit being released and a whole new spirit having to be contained. So let's move it out from that. Spirits of Vengeance issue number 4 coming out tomorrow and talk about Ultimate Universe 1 year in. Issue number 1. So what we're essentially getting is we're getting this whole recap and further down the road of what we're going to develop in the Ultimate Universe. We are now 1 year deep in, plus, actually, if I recall. And if you look back as a reflection, which I hope some of this book does, we had a book that led into the Spider-Man book that most people are still not talking about, but I believe this book is going to touch on that and everything that's been coming out so far. Aside from the Spider-Man success, we've had Ultimate Black Panther, X-Men, and it's all, the idea is we're counting down to the imminent arrival and then war of this ultimate battle that we're supposed to get. So this sets what we're supposed to get in 2025. So that's why I'm really dying to get my hands on this thing. I've been kind of at least buying more than half of all this ultimate stuff, knowing what this is leading to. And I've really been enjoying it. So I can't wait to get my hands on that Ultimate Universe 1 year in, issue number 1. Let's move out from the Marvel Studios and talk over at the Image side. We're going to bring in Transformers issue number 15. Again, as I said in the past, we're now down to only 3 titles that go ahead and formulate this Energon universe. We have Void Rivals that started it all. We have G.I. Joe that most recently just started its brand new title. And we have Transformers that was the long runner alongside Void Rivals that go ahead and gave us a solid development of not only the Transformers and how they're going to relate themselves into the G.I. Joe and how they relate into the Void Rivals and the Energon universe, but overall how their impression has been made has been now 15 books deep coming tomorrow, which in my opinion is it's just been rock solid. I've not found a single individual has been able to talk any smack at all about Transformers in any negative form. If anything, I think I'm only recent since I've been talking to some people that are not into comics at all have actually gravitated towards the series. So I got two friends of mine that have not only been buying Transformers, but because it ties into the G.I. Joe, and they know that eventually there's something missing and they didn't know what it was. So I pointed in the direction of Void Rivals, and these people are not only blessing me, but cursing me in the same sentence. So it's been really awesome, this series. And it brings me a lot of joy to not only bring it to someone that has never really read comics, but you as the comic community. Let's move out from Transformers issue number 15 coming out tomorrow on 12/11/2024 and cruise over to Ahoy Comics. Seriously, I think I'm one of those few people who are buying the Toxic Avenger, and issue number 3 comes out tomorrow. And the reason why is not just because the series is rather unique and funny. It's pretty good, actually. The art's awesome. The smell of the ink and the printing is badass. And if you buy the right one, you get that little trading card, which is the ones that I've been getting. I'm getting the trading card series. I'm just a schmuck like that. So I've been using the clear backing boards, and I've been putting the cards in the back, and it's just they present so well. So not only is the series rather decent, it's a good excuse to go ahead, and if you're going to buy it, get the trading card one. Just saying. So Toxic Avenger, the issue number 3 coming out to you and me, 12/11/2024, and you know what it is? Yeah, there's not that big on the list this week. Yeah, you know what I mean. Coming out of Dynamite, we're going to talk about Space Ghost, issue number 8. Seriously, I'm saying I've been talking about Space Ghost, and it's been on my lists every time an issue's been out. And I think it's made the Blue Light Special at least twice. So for a series, which is only now coming out with issue number 8, that has definitely been on the Blue Light Special at least twice, it's really saying something. David Paposa is doing such awesome work on this that the positive criticisms, the accolades, everything coming from so many different directions has been forcing Dynamite to readdress a contract that they've made with David. Initially, they were only going to do, if my recollection is correct and my understanding is proper, 15 issues. My understanding is that got pushed another 10 more. So as far as my understanding, and let's go ahead and knock it back one, we're essentially getting 4 arcs guaranteed coming from David. Now, if we're only reaching essentially 1/3 of that tomorrow, well, I'm just saying, for something to be that critically acclaimed, you would think more people would be talking about it. I think it's just one of those things that when something is so good, it doesn't have to be necessarily spoken to everybody unless everyone starts talking about it and asking everyone if they're reading it. Because as far as my understanding and the consensus is there tends to be not overall a huge people reading, but the people that are reading it are consistently reading it every week. This consistency is what allowed these 24 guaranteed issues to be signed on this contract. That is actually, again, saying a lot, not only by a publisher, but by the writer and by the team itself. So I guess this is one of the reasons why every time David ends up writing something, I ain't buying it. And Space Ghost is not your dad's Space Ghost. In the case of me being a dad, it's not my dad. It's not the Space Ghost I grew up with. This is a contemporary Space Ghost that if you're looking for an awesome sci-fi fantasy, if you're looking for beautifully written and touching and understanding and sensitive and brave and courageous storytelling, that's exactly what Space Ghost is. It's hard for me to really convey exactly what's been going on in the series without actually telling everything that's been going on in the series. Outside of touching on those bullet points that I just made, all I can really say is Space Ghost is not only my blue light special, but it's more than likely going to be one of the most consistent reads that I have on my ongoing repertoire of pulling on my pull list in the next, well, as it stands, and if my math's correct, at least 16 more months. Hey, and again, for all those that decided to want to hang out with me, I greatly appreciate you. Jag, dude, you the man. Kevin, you're awesome. Don't change a thing. Your underwear, your socks, nothing. I appreciate you. And everyone else that decided to cruise on through, I appreciate you too. And that's it from me. Entropy. You guys stay well.